Alrighty, it is currently 3:50 p.m. This is the presence of what is, as I've referred to it, impossible light activity, not only by virtue of its location, its size, it's also dynamic. It's appearing through what are closed blinds. The blinds are closed, the blinds are closed in an upward position. It's also impossible based on pure duration of time. It was this morning when you saw the light source. And this was relevant to what supposedly the natural environment where you're looking at the sunrise. That's not the same location where the sunset is going to occur, not in the natural environment. It's impossible light activity for all of those reasons. It's also impossible because, as you can see, this dynamic light, you're looking at what are the leaves outside blowing in the wind, and that is shown through. This is what is magnification of light. So this is the character of the light itself. This is in every regard impossible. These are the closed blinds, and I took pictures of what is the impossible light activity that's also appearing above my head. This is terrorism via directed light. This is the environment that surrounds while you are subject to what is criminal surveillance by a public entity that is maintaining ongoing presence while this environment, which stands out on its face, what occurs in this environment is following conduct, remaining conduct, and this is documented by the state itself. And so, as I've documented, police officers, police departments, engaging in what is harassment that is following and remaining where I am while this environment surrounds me. And this is how you are identifying the criminal system that's underway. In addition, so that's a clearly impossible light activity on its face. That light activity is also occurring where the light source is, not only is it not an explanation, but when the light source is not even present, when you're looking at this light activity that's present in my apartment at nightfall, this is the light activity that you're seeing the pattern of the blinds appearing on the ceiling at nightfall. And that's supposed to be under the guise of what would never be the street lamp, but nonetheless, the entity places what is amber colored engineered light for purposes of what is 24-hour surveillance. I'm capturing what is ongoing light activity. This light, which is not normal light, this is engineered. I want you to pay attention. This is my one arm that I'm waving, and you're seeing it multiple shadows of my arm all over the wall, and you're looking at my shadow that's appearing on the ceiling. You're also looking at what is the light activity, and when you are paying attention to the environment, you're recognizing what is group stalking. And that's what this is. This is called crossing path. This is state surveillance on behalf of a government. They are driving in engineered light. They're not driving in sunlight. They're not present in a natural environment. They are systematically engaged in what is group stalking on behalf of the state. That's heavily documented using helicopters, as you are witnessing on an ongoing basis. This is crossing a path. This is the same third party that was engaging in surveillance inside of her vehicle this morning. She walked into the hallway right here, and you saw what was engineered light that created her shadow as she was monitoring me while engaging in what is living at a crime scene. This is the systematic and seamless engagement and what is ceaseless criminal presence. And that's the grounds of federal prison. That is Melania Padilla, who is still monitoring right now. And this is a psychopath exhibiting that conduct while you're targeting someone else. That's revealing a mental illness, psychopathic criminal behavior on behalf of a government. This is public corruption exposed, and it's also the behavior of the demon-possessed, who's not only their condition, but their criminal system is revealed. I'm using 350 as a time stamp because on this same time, at the same time, on this same day in 2022, while you're looking at what is under no circumstances going to be the sun, first of all, because this morning, again, duration of time analysis. This morning is where you saw the light source, and this is Melania Padilla. She's walking through engineered light. That's impossible placement. That's not sunlight. It's appearing in the depths of a hallway, a covered hallway, and sunlight. You can see the covering. She's group stalking. That's the analysis for the specific environment. She's doing so as she is engaging in crossing paths. She was stalking in her car as I walk to that venue, as I walk in her direction, documenting this third party. She gets out. While she's getting out, let me be clear, on the surface, you appear as though you're walking away, you're disinterested. You are actually engaged in what is monitoring conduct. You're group stalking by virtue of walking in any direction, by the way, in the engineered light. That's the same third party you see walking in the parking lot right now. I'm capturing, as I was stating, not only is the light source present through my bedroom window right now, capturing what is the impossible placement of this light source and the also impossible light activity that is inside of my, above my head, stalking the path with light, but also because of the maintenance of this light source. While that is today, 6:27 in the morning, I'm capturing what is the light source. Oh, okay, I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to capture, one second. I'll show you the video where you saw the light source this morning. And that was Here we are. It's currently the light source that's remaining over me. So this is the light source that's outside of my living room window. I'm inside of the same apartment. I'm at the same address when this is the, again, pure duration of time. I'm inside of the same apartment. That's not the sun that would be present at the same address. I'm inside of the same apartment right now. This is the light source outside of my bedroom window. The window where you were looking at that light source this morning was outside of this window. That's 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me. Yeah, 3. So that's 7 hours. And what you're listening to, what you're seeing on the screen is the federal stalking criminal conduct by both speaker companies and third-party group stalkers that are monitoring on the venue of the internet while an entity is monitoring ongoing documentation. Also while they're going to federal prison. That why, in other words. You're looking at the engineered light. This is how you know that there is nobody that's contacting you that does not know they're engaged in criminal conduct, violation of Title 18 while they are doing so. And they also do so for a criminal purpose to stop, that is distract. Let me be clear, that's a criminal act of obstruction of justice while you're monitoring documentation. It's not a distraction, though. It flows right into the ongoing analysis because you're looking at what is a crime that's committed by a government in concert with the people who are also group stalking on the venue of the internet. And this is impossible placement of the light source and not the sun, because this is direct evidence of what is not possibly over anybody in Nevada. It's not over anybody in Florida or in New York or in Mississippi or in Texas. This is a light source that's remaining over me in the same apartment. Again, that video evidence of what you saw this morning during the 9 o'clock hour, and it has been 7 hours, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 6 hours. So it is currently, again, we can look at the time, it's 3:57. That's not the natural environment. And in the unnatural environment, the entity is sending a text message for purposes of federal stalking. The entity is walking about and driving around in relevant position in engineered light. The same engineered light that you're seeing all above in my head and all over the walls. Under no circumstances is it sunlight. The entity is maintaining this light source at the same exact time as I documented on this day in 2022, revealing the pattern of conduct that I am subject to as I captured this, which is what I want to remind you of. This is the ongoing criminal conduct of a corrupt government that is maintaining a light source over me in an entirely different region. So at 3:50 p.m. on this day in 2022, the light source is over me. And I want to be clear where I'm located at this time on May 10th, 2022 at the same time, 3:50 p.m. This is the same location where I'm located at 7:50 in the morning. Again, the analysis with regard to duration of time, capturing the specific environment. This is the crime scene where criminal surveillance is underway. You are identifying targeting through the maintenance of the light source directly above that targeted individual, the engineered light that surrounds the stalking behavior by the state, which are hallmarks of a criminal system of surveillance where the entity is engaged in what is group stalking. The entity is engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet as well in violation of Title 18. There is no sun that's going to be present outside of my window, my bedroom window, in this position over my head, nor creating any light above my head in the depths of an apartment or at a downward trajectory at the same time on the wall inside of my apartment through what you also saw closed blinds, and also be the sun that is in an entirely different region, same time of year, literally the same day and time, which is at Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard. In Ontario, California, Starbucks is monitoring American citizens. Starbucks, by virtue of engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, having engaged in what is criminal summoning, in concert with the same entity that kidnapped, meaning the same specific officers masquerading as having authority, arriving at the facilitating venue of Starbucks for purposes of communicating a personalized and direct threat. By virtue of their presence, by virtue of their specific engagement in having kidnapped before, by virtue of their presence of engaging in criminal monitoring, while they're bearing weapons and wearing badges, okay? This is the pattern of conduct at 3:50 p.m. and the hallmarks are present. This is directed light. Let me turn the volume up so you can hear it. Impossible. Demonic. All right, and that's what they molest me with. That's a perpetual sex. All right, you saw UPS engage in the same conduct. That's not sunlight that appears on the ground adjacent to a vehicle while you are just driving under what's purportedly the sun. And then you have the analysis of what's not even possibly the sun. So you're understanding what is demonic while they are stalking in your path with engineered light. And they're also under what is not the sun. The purpose of that is on the light source is directly over me. Light all around not the sun. The communication devices. It's entirely demonic. Monitoring with the Omnitrans. Perpetual sex offender, and they're also under what is not the sun. Okay, so the entity is maintaining this light source over my head. I'm at 706 West Hope Boulevard in Ontario, California. I am at 1806 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California, the same location where I was at this morning during the 9 o'clock hour, where you saw the light source hovering in alignment to me, aiming engineered light into my living room. And this is a series of hours later while I'm still inside of the same apartment, and this is the so-called sun. That is not the sun. That is engagement of what is the maintenance of a light source. And as you also know and witness, the entity is engaging in what is a demonic imitation of a sunset for purposes of stalking with light. Stalking with light is that which is underway by a demon-possessed entity that is keeping you under surveillance. They are stalking you as a population. It's referred to as group stalking, gang stalking. All right, this entity engaged in what is an assault and battery as an entity. It's not just Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal and his demon-possessed daughter. This is the entity that's acting directly via Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal and his demon-possessed daughter. This is an entity that's group stalking. They engage in criminal summoning together. They engage in kidnapping together. They engage in defamatory speech together in the shoes of the state. It's the state that's living around you. It's the state that's stalking you. It's the state that's stalking you both directly and vicariously. And that's how you're understanding what is the malice of a corrupt government that's engaged in criminal surveillance in the United States at that, in the so-called free country. What I also want you to pay attention to when you're recognizing what is the maintenance of a light source while I'm under surveillance inside of a private space, I am speaking to what is a sex offense that the state of California is engaging in while acting directly via the demon-possessed law enforcement agency. That is the Los Angeles Police Department that likes to use helicopters, and that's what you're going to see in this video as well. The purpose of that is ongoing facilitation. Directed light all around me all the time for purposes of monitoring with communication devices. It's entirely demonic. Monitoring with the Omnitrans, going to federal prison. I read that employees. This is called crossing a path. This is group stalking by police departments in the specific environment under a light source, which is not possibly the sun, while you are looking at also the mark of demon possession, the identification of a demon. In other words, I don't want to use that word. There's a term of art, but this is how you are identifying a demon. The presence of this engineered light coexisting with their presence, their movement in your path. Demons are doing that. It's an impossible occurrence. It's a natural. It's a phenomenon. It's a pattern in the specific environment where you're subject to surveillance. So it is the outward demonstration, in other words, to be more precise, of demon possession of the stalker. Okay, that's representative of a government, by the way. The government is engaging in what is group stalking. Number 1582404, vehicle 1019. And what's so pathetic is that they're stalking me. That's what's so pathetic. And that's why they're going to federal prison. This is the fake. And you know that because the light source is over me at 706 West Hope Boulevard at the same time that it's over me here in Los Angeles. And I'm inside of the same apartment. Again, let me show you. While I'm inside of the same address where I was at this morning, where the light source is hovering through my living room window. So now I'm facing my bedroom window, facing the direction west. And this is where the entity keeps the light source, which makes no provision for there to ever be a sun over Starbucks while I'm standing on the sidewalk. In the same way, it's mutually exclusive. Because the entity is engaging in a sunrise and a sunset while I'm at one address, it makes no provision for the sun to be over Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard. Neither of those independently analyzed are the natural environment, because the sun is never going to be present at the same address, rising and setting. This is how you are understanding the pattern of conduct that is underway by a public entity that is acting in concert with all those who are maintaining presence around you, not innocently nor ignorantly, but entirely maliciously, knowing exactly who you are. Whether you don't need to have a personal relationship, let me be clear, the demonic spirit on them knows exactly who you are. You are also recognizing the demonic spirit that's shared by them by their engagement in what is the impossible. This is the engineered light behavior. While they drive vehicles, engineered light is moving across surfaces. That's impossible, but it is the identification of a demon who was group stalking you. That demon happens to be documented as the Ontario Police Department, and engineered light, and the light source is over me. Following from the county building. This is the fake sun as I documented. Going to Montclair, getting on Route 61, that same exact bus route, early in the morning, 7:50 a.m. This is where the fake sun is, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in monitoring, the store manager engaging in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police, who are. That's called amplification of audible activity, the entity acting via trains. This is relevant to interstate commerce, and these are ways in which I advocate further federal prosecution. The entity uses any and everything in the environment around for purposes of all of the elements of monitoring. Engaging in what is terrorism. The criminal elements of monitoring is demonic activity. While you are, as an entity, engaging in what is demonic activity for the criminal purpose of surveillance, you are in being documented as the guise under which terrorism is underway against an American citizen. That is audible activity amplified under the guise of what's supposed to be the operation of a train. And that is occurring in the specific environment. That is a federal prosecution of a company going under the name Union Pacific or Metrolink. You can pick your name. I'm speaking to how you're going to prosecute systematically all of the government's resources for keeping you surrounded in this environment, engaging in that criminal system together as one. Demons, group stalking. DIAZSOR, that's amplified audible activity, monitoring with the Ontario Police Department in what is engineered light. Pay attention, this is the demon. This is the pattern of conduct. That's amplification. So they're monitoring me while I am walking under the light source is hovering over me, over my head. You'll see it over me as I then approach the police vehicle, and the entity is maintaining a light source outside of my bedroom window right now. That's not the sun, okay? It's also not sunlight that you're gonna see beside his vehicle in the shade. He's group stalking, and we've documented him before. This is a minion, and this is engineered light right here beside this demon. That's impossible light activity, okay? This is what the people of the state are driving in. This is what the people of the state what coexists with their maintenance while they're driving a vehicle, such as Union Pacific driving a commercial vehicle, and engineered light is moving across an apartment building. That's the engineered light that you see on my ceiling, okay? This is the engineered light that you now see on my bed. The entity is moving the engineered light in real time. The entity is typically keeping it here for a prolonged period, and then it expands above my bed. This is the ongoing hostility, the ongoing purpose to want to be a distraction, to offend, to express hostility with light that's not even naturally occurring. And this is in real time while they are monitoring the ongoing documentation. So I just want to show an outright departure from being on the wall, and then what is expanding up over and above onto my person. I just want to document that at the same time. None of it is possible while the light source is over Officer Barbula of the Ontario Police Department at 706 West Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. Hey there, he's group stalking, and we've documented him before. This is a minion, and this is engineered. That's engineered light right here. What I provided is the video documentation is already uploaded to the Google Drive. Okay, so this is the screen recording of videos that I have. So for you to see it in HD and you can see it more vividly, I suggest you go to that documentation and view it yourself because you can see very clearly I take specific effort to in no way change the quality of the videos, especially when I want you to see the light activity, because a lot of times it's very subtle, but there are other times where it's very vivid, which is also a demonic means of communicating hostility as well. It's demonic. But this is light activity that's appearing beside the vehicle in the shade for purposes of monitoring while you're hearing amplified train activity. And that's the same engineered light that's on my thighs right now while I'm sitting on my bed, that you see beside my bed, that you see above my head in the ceiling, that you see moving across the apartment building while demons such as Gabriel, Ariaga, Carbajal are driving a vehicle. Demons such as the third parties that operate Center for Better Life vehicles, and engineered light moves across the apartment building. Demons such as Tiffany Sherez driving a white Telluride, and engineered light is moving across an apartment building behind my person. None of that is sunlight. It's a pattern of conduct, and it is heavily documented amongst the people of the state. That's speaking to a system. This is the engineered light that you see in the depths of the Victoria Gardens parking garage, having nothing to do with sunlight, and that's not even the sun. You're talking about different modes of analysis, breaking that whole scene down. This is the system that's underway. It speaks to the existence of a vast system, and that is tethering together the people of the state, irrespective of your name, your identity, whatever you claim your purpose is. You're understanding the elements, and you're recognizing that scene, which is consistent for recognizing federal stalking and group stalking. Right here beside this demon, okay? This is impossible light activity. Pay attention. All right, this is the mark of demon possession. This is the group stalker. Hi, what's your name? What's your name? Oh, you can't hear? He's lying. He's a demon, and he's group stalking, and he's right under the fake sun. All right, everything that I'm saying is supported by the evidence. It's not the sun that is outside of my bedroom window right now, nor could that be the sun over there. And it both goes. I captured this in 2022. So if that's the sun over me at 706 West Holt Boulevard, then there's not going to be any sun, and there will never be any of this sunlight, of this light. That's not even sunlight, possibly. While it is over me at this time, which is why you document, because even as we're not going to, because this is a matter of precious documentation. You're going to prosecute with this. This is the whole point of capturing the P.O.C. But we can disregard this because, like I said, I don't even need it. When you are remaining at the 706 West Holt Boulevard Starbucks in Ontario, California, when I'm there at that same sidewalk at 7:50 in the morning, at 3:50 in the afternoon, that's also not possibly the sun. 7:50, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, that's 8 hours. Not the sun. The sun is not a stagnated stationary, hovering, hunkering down light source that's remaining in its zenith over everyone at the same time, whether you're remaining at one place all day or whether you're in constant motion in transportation or some other mode on foot. Nor does sunlight shoot in all manner of direction, piercing through what are even closed spaces and magnifying in size, showing you what are leaves of trees blowing in the wind through closed blinds. None of that sunlight, that is not possibly the sun. This is everything that I'm stating about this state actor, Officer Barbula, is the truth, and it is supported by the evidence. And while you are looking at what is impossible light activity, you are looking at the demonic. It is directly indicative of the condition of those who are stalking. Only demon-possessed people are group stalking. It's demonic activity. So I want to be clear. Nothing am I saying. I'm not being hyperbolic in anything. Everything that I say it for a reason. Okay? That's what's going on.
Federal prison. This is an unlawful threat, and he's monitoring with all of them. 8ZDM724. You don't have any form making a purchase at a facilitating venue. This is state surveillance, and you're monitoring.
It's relevant positioning, light activity, and amplified audible activity via ongoing train. What I want you to see is the entity group stalking in the specific environment via helicopter, which you are seeing on a daily basis here in Los Angeles, where the entity is now maintaining a specific environment, which is directly juxtaposed to the maintenance of a specific environment in an entirely different region for a prolonged period of time. Years. I was documenting the P.O.C. in an entirely different region, and the entity makes a grand departure as though that would ever be the natural environment. And this is because an entity engaging what is a matter of public corruption has no way to anticipate what's actually going to be the substance of a federal prosecution incriminating an entire state, because you can't anticipate that. So it's going to be based on what is not possibly the natural environment. Therein lies revealing what is the demonic, and it is legally relevant for purposes of a federal prosecution of terrorism, America's version of terrorism, while they're keeping American citizens under surveillance. The entity is stalking by helicopter in this video, and that's what I want you to see.
The opposite directions of this light. It's impossible light. It's engineered light. In the same way the entity engages in what is subtle placement of engineered light. But there is no neutralizing that threat. He is stalking with the entity that's stalking by helicopter. He is in a police uniforms. He is in a police uniform. He's group stalking with the people. All manner of an unlawful threat. He is under what is not possibly the sun that's over me at 7:50 in the morning at the same exact location. Offering coffee is audible activity. This is impunity that they act with. Let me be clear, Satan doesn't find it funny. Not at all. And they're also not going to find it funny when I'm prosecuting. And the people of the state are going to federal prison. You don't have a right to engage in what is group stalking with the government. None of this is lawful at all. You're going to federal prison. 61870H1. The government does it through the people. Does it through them, and they're all demons. This is the criminalization of that demonic system. All right? Let me be clear. Multiple grounds of federal prison. The entity that's stalking by helicopter, that's a threat to your life. The entity that's stalking by law enforcement, that's a threat to your life. The entity that's stalking through a bunch of demon-possessed minions, 5WG and 401 federal prison. All right? That's P.O.C.
All right, so I want you to be clear while you're looking at that light source. This is what you're going to compare. The entity is aiming this engineered light, keeping this light source over my apartment and my office at the same property for the duration of the day, okay? That's the prosecution of the state of California. It is currently 4:13 p.m., where the entity maintains this light source well until after 6 p.m. As you've seen, keeping the light source for purposes of aiming, engineered light, which is just changing the color of that light, magnified in size, which is then appearing on my bedroom wall. Documentation of what is ongoing terrorism. This is what the entity is doing in the evening, as though this is going to be the sunset remaining. This is 7:19, so that's 3 hours from now, and this is capturing video of the so-called sun during the 9 o'clock hour. That's never the natural environment, okay? This is the ongoing pattern of conduct. This is engineered light that you see on my wall, in the same way that you're looking at engineered light that's on my ceiling, just cycling engineered light for the duration of the day while a whole population is keeping you under surveillance, and that's terrorism. And not only that, they're demons that are keeping you under surveillance, which is also relevant for prosecution for terrorism, while the entity is doing this in concert with a corrupt law enforcement agency, engaging in what is the hallmark, stalking you in helicopter, while they are necessarily maintaining close presence in order to engage in the demonic pattern of stalking that is following, that is occurring with simultaneity to your every little move, including that which you engage in on a communication device. Immediately the sound of helicopter activity. Those are demons that are sitting around somewhere wearing diapers, necessarily using a helicopter to engage in surveillance. That's unheard of, and those are the demon possessed that are currently holding positions that they are disqualified from and that they're going to be removed from, while they're documenting engaging in what is group stalking, which is identification of a domestic enemy. This is the public safety concern. All right, it is currently 4:14 p.m. That's POC.